Good morning, everybody. It's the Friday before Christmas, December 20th. Everyone's going out to shopping, but we're here talking about auto retail being poised for a strong finish, F-150 production stopping, and AI running out of training data. It's out. It made that sound when you get to the bottom of a milkshake.
They all done.
That'd be a funny video.
ASMR channel of us slipping milkshakes.
Yeah. I mean, that's AI running out of data.
Apparently. There you go.
Apparently. This week has felt long and short all at the
Long and
same
short.
time.
I feel like next week is crashing into us with a brisk, crash to the face type feel.
I don't know what next week's going to feel like. So my wife and I went Christmas shopping last night. Thursday's we try to keep that as a date night. But typically the last one before Christmas, we go out and we just, hit all the stores we can without any kids in tow, and we just zip it. We went to a lot of places. We went to Party City, Barnes & Noble, Sephora, Kohl's.
Okay, you said Sephora. I saw the LinkedIn post. I wasn't sure if it was Ulta or Sephora. Either way,
Sephora's got that black and white motif. Ulta's a little more yellow. Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. But
what a mess.
But what I realized was that it was dead.
Really?
I expected it's going to be crazy, and it was dead. And
I don't know.
I think that this weekend is going to be nuts. I think the feeling that I have a weekend and then another day before Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah.
I think people are dragging on it. So I felt like I got away with something last night.
Oh, no.
I was parking up front because last weekend it was jamming.
You robbed the week. It's amazing.
That's what I felt like. And we're done. We're finished. Done.
You're done.
Not another thing to buy. I'm so happy about that.
Man, hey, people, yesterday, if you did not catch the year-end extravaganza, you can go to our YouTube or go to our LinkedIn and go rewatch the year-end extravaganza that streamed yesterday.
Or watch it for the first time.
It was unbelievable. I stepped out to watch it with my wife and kids yesterday because we're homeschooled. I'm at home, right? My kids were busted laughing on the floor. It was amazing. It was so good. So you got to check it out. There were some obviously some recaps, some looking forward type stuff.
We aired it out a little bit. If it's easier for you to get there, you can just go to asodu.com. It's right up there at the top of the page, or at the top of the fold anyway. So you can just go in and click through and watch it on LinkedIn. Lots of fun comments. And we pulled out a few things we haven't pulled out. It was amazing. Little more humor, a little back and forth, some great segues. One of the funnest lower thirds I've seen. Little surprise present lower third. It was nice.
Yep. Yeah,
it was nice.
It was good.
It was a great time. You should go check it out. We hope you do.
Yeah.
What else? Are we talking about anybody else?
Let's go.
New Auto Collabs episode. Is that out today?
That's right. Matt Murray Widewell. No, it's been out a couple days. You should check it out. That's a great podcast episode. It really gets into what's going on in the industry from how consumers are feeling about it based on a whole bunch of reviews. So real customer words. Really cool insights. And Matt Murray is just a G. He's a good dude.
He's a G. I've never heard you say that before.
There you go.
He's a G. I'm wearing my ugly sweater, by the way.
I'm proud of you. I don't even have one of those anymore.
I wish
that's not so ugly. I like that sweater, actually. I think it's dope.
Just
if you can't see it, it's got a whole bunch of frilly things, and then it's got reindeer pulling a motorcycle.
Dirt bike. Yeah, I mean, it's not that ugly. You're right. I should have just wore a Dallas Cowboys sweater.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
But I know. I feel like a Grinch when it comes to Christmas parties. I'm like, this is just a lot of work. Can't we just get really good food? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work around here in the congruent hallway.
But proud of you for sustaining it.
I'm festive though. I got my ugly sweater. I was like, where am I going to find this thing?
I feel the pain in your voice right now is significant. So
once I'm into it, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm not big on dressing up.
I know you're not.
I like,
You already had to dress up once this week to put a suit on.
That
now
felt
you got
way
to do
better.
this.
I'd rather do that again.
People really came for this morning. They really came for this.
I'm sure they left for this is what they did. Let's talk about some news. So the auto industry is gearing up for a solid 2024 finish as inventory stabilize. Aggressive year-end deals are luring buyers back to showrooms. Analysts are remaining optimistic about the continued momentum into 2025, despite all the policy uncertainties that we have. Total 2024 sales projected to hit 15.8 to 15.9 vehicles, a solid increase from 15.6 last year. December seasonally adjusted rate, the SAAR, is expected to reach 17.2 million, the highest since 2021. GM is likely to hold its position as the top U.S. automaker, with Honda having the most gains, overtaking Stellantis in market share due to, well, we all know, a couple issues. Retail leasing is up 19% year over year. EV sales forecasted to grow 12% in Q4. Despite the falling interest rates, below 7% for the first time in a year, high vehicle prices are pushing monthly payments up $700 to $740.
Wow.
Wow, that's $150 higher than 2019.
That's unbelievable.
Jonathan Smoke, our guy from Cox Automotive, says, quote, "We've gone from wait to buy into a new marching cry of buy now before prices and rates climb again." Wow, what a little seesaw we're on.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, this is still, there's so much to be determined in 2025. And I'm hearing the backbeat of like just the side conversations at church and, around like people that I know, like people are wondering, should I buy right now? There's actually a lot of incentive for people to think about buying here at the end of the year. So I think it is this like great coming together of could be an epic end of the year, which we always look forward to that. But you think about just the growth in the fourth quarter. I'm hearing a lot of people, leads are a little bit up in the first half of the month. The traffic is a little bit up. So this is going to bode well. And obviously inventory is there. So getting to that 17.2 million mark is that would be really good for just the overall volume, even though dealers are feeling the pinch on profitability a bit.
Speaking of feeling the pinch.
Segue.
Speaking of new inventory, speaking of EVs, Ford has announced a temporary production pause in its F-150 Lightning supply or production until January 6th, 2025. The decision's reflecting a strategic adjustment to align supply with the actual market demand. What a concept as the EV industry navigates a period of slower than expected growth. Basically, they sold 22,807 F-150 Lightnings this year, marking an 86% increase over last year. Well done. This performance places it well ahead of competitors like Chevy Silverado EV, which only sold 5,200 vehicles, and even Rivian's, kind of cult favorite R1T only sold about half as Ford did on the Lightning. The pause is going to be at Ford's Dearborn, Michigan plant, and they're just trying to prevent overproduction to ensure that they're not pushing more inventory.
Which is great.
Yeah, everyone should take a note. Ford's strategy acknowledges that EV adoption is not growing as fast as earlier projections did suggest, so they're trying to balance the innovation with the market need. As Ford spokesperson explained, quote, "We continue to adjust production for an optimal mix of sales, growth, and profitability." I mean, it feels like they're maturing now.
Yeah, definitely maturing. You get a little holiday break up there in Detroit, or near Detroit. And, look, 86% growth, any market, anywhere, any business would get pumped on that, right? So it's still like, let's not take this as like, oh my goodness, the sky is falling. There's still a lot of progress when it comes to EVs. Obviously, the F-150 is still taking the truck market with the Lightning. But I love to see these manufacturers. There's been a couple manufacturers, especially American-made cars, that are saying, hey, pull it back just for a little while, reset. Let's see what going into the new year looks like. And I think like this is the ebb and flow of learning how to create the right supply for the demand in the market.
Speaking of learning.
Segue.
Speaking of large learning models.
All right. So in a talk at the NeuralPS 2024 AI conference, former OpenAI chief scientist Ilya Sutskever,
good job.
If I nailed that, kudos.
I'm sure you did.
Reflected on the foundational 2014 paper that shaped modern AI and looked ahead to what's going next. The era of pre-training is ending as AI is running out of quality internet data, marking the end of what they're calling peak data, saying that data is the fossil fuel of AI. Sutskever says that we should expect smarter AI agents, synthetic training data, and models that think more like humans, and that future AIs could have things like true reasoning, self-awareness, and unpredictable decision-making. So basically the raw data is running out, so it's like retraining itself at this point.
Play the milkshake sound for a minute. in your mind, whatever that sound is, and you're saying that all the data on the internet, right? There's only one, and pretty much they've trained it on everything on the internet.
Well, okay, so let's be clear on that. And I've been talking about this a lot, like inside conversations, and I think I posted on it maybe a couple weeks ago. But the reality is what you get is qualitative training data, right? So actually, and I think I talked about this on the podcast last week, but Google has always kind of looked for what is the best data on the internet. How do we surface that to its users in search, right? And there are millions and millions of trailing pages, trailing content on the internet that never get delivered to an end user. And there has to come a point where these models and these trainers, the companies that are training these models, get to a point and say, that's not really relevant data, or that's not factual data, or that's not data that's going to actually help the algorithm. It's going to start to detract
from anything, right? It'll
exactly
everything.
And so you're running out of like the qualitative data, and at a quantity that no longer serves the engine to make it know things better. So now what you have to get into the habit of, and what they're starting to learn, and where thinking and reasoning happens. And Google's Gemini has just come out with a reasoning engine last week in 2.0, but is to say, okay, you have all the available data. Now
Make
reason and think based on that data to extrapolate things that maybe we aren't able to feed you, and relearn or create net new. And so that's where this kind of infinite game of data is heading toward.
When you bring that up, the thing that comes top of mind for me is the big debate on like, how is the AI trained to basically build a hierarchy of what is most important, because that is going to like steer the reasoning, right? Like for instance, if environmental impact is the most important thing, the most logical thing is to get rid of the humans, right?
Got him.
No, but I think that's like a kind of like a very, very high level, over the top. Everybody laughs at that, but there are all these other assumptions in business and in industry, and not even business industry, other areas where all of a sudden that level of hierarchy and training is going to become much more important, because all the data is usurped. And now we're saying like, figure it out. But this is also, when we talk about, we've been talking a lot in the back channels about AI agents. And when you deploy an AI agent to have a mind of its own, basically to go and do a task, this really is going to be interesting the next 12 months on what's going to happen. Steve Greenfield and I, when we were talking in the year extravaganza, he was like, man, we're going to look at, at a very base level, like BDC activity in 10 years from now. And what we have going on at this moment in BDCs is going to feel like a rotary phone.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
So I don't know. We just report the news.
We just talk about it. That's all.
I give it some context. I don't know what you're going to do with that today, except be aware. And being aware is one of the best ways that you can get ahead, which is why we have an AI newsletter, autoindustry.ai.
Got him.
We'll drip you a little feed without overwhelming you once a week. You should sign up for it. But listen, it's Friday before a holiday. I know there's a lot of Christmas parties. There's ugly sweaters going on everywhere. And the reason I'll do the ugly sweater thing is because it's connected to the thing we should all be paying attention to. You know what it is. It's the people.